Hey, what's up? Hello. If you're new here, my name is Kayla and you are watching Kayla's Bookish Vibes. Today's video, we are going to be discussing some of my favorite romances that I have read and loved, and then some romances that I have on my shelf that I really want to get to. I feel like this is the perfect time to do this video. I'm not huge on romances. I do enjoy sprinkling them through, like, in between some of my darker, heavier reads, but it's almost Valentine's Day and I figured the girls needed some romances. Alright, so the first book I'm going to recommend, I feel like, is a given, and that is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This was the first book that I read in 2023 that really got me back into the swing of reading and made me realize that romances is a genre that I really enjoy, or it can be a genre that I really enjoy. I typically read darker, heavier, moodier, more serious books, and I realized after reading this one that romances can be all of those things, and that even the light and fluffy ones are perfect to sprinkle in between those type of reads. So with this book, we are following Yasmin and Josiah. This is a second chance romance, and what I loved most about this second chance romance is it wasn't like a relationship that's on the rocks. It wasn't a marriage that was on the rocks. Like, these people were actually divorced. They were divorced, the marriage was done. They were just co-parenting, and like I said, it's a second chance romance, so they end up fixing things and getting back together, obviously. But I loved that how realistic to me that this book was. There are some, like I said, some heavier topics discussed, so check the trigger warnings. I will say that miscarriage is heavily discussed in this book, so if that is a trigger for you, then maybe you want to skip out on this one. But I loved this one and had to mention it because this is the book that got me back into reading at the top of 2023. Next, we have one of my favorite romances from 2023, The Neighbor Favor. I feel like I have talked about this book so much, by Christina Forrest. I absolutely loved this one. This one is like dark, heavy, moody, but The Neighbor Favor is like light, sweet, and fluffy. This is a bookish romance, which I also really, really loved. We are following Lily and Nick. Lily is in book editing. That's what she does for her job, and Nick is a writer. So one day while Lily is reading a book, she decides she wants to email the author of this book that she just loves so much, and you guessed it, Nick is that author. So they go back and forth with this email correspondence, and in the first half of the book, that's all it is. It's like their emails. I loved that part of the book. To me, that is what made this romance believable. I don't know what it is about that email correspondence, but it just made me fall for them and like believe in their relationship and root for their relationship from the very beginning, even before they had ever met each other. Nick ends up moving to New York, and he moves into the building that Lily is living in. Now, Nick realizes very quickly that Lily is the lady that he was emailing back and forth. Lily doesn't realize that Nick is the author that she had been emailing because he wrote under a pen name. So that was kind of, I felt like we maybe spent just a little bit too much time with Lily being like not realizing that he is who he is, but it worked out. All of the interactions were so sweet. This is definitely a slow burn. There's not a lot of spice in this book, and it is towards the end. So if you need spice in your life, just go in knowing that this is not going to be like a spicy romance. This is just a nice, fluffy, sweet, nerdy, bookish romance, and I was here for it. I absolutely loved this book. Next, we're going to talk about Mimi Grace. Now, I feel like Mimi Grace does the fluffy romance perfectly with the perfect amount of spice. So for the people who need spice in their life but also really enjoy fluffy romances, Mimi Grace is the author for you. I'm going to talk about her series. I believe this is the Love Struck series. And the first book in that series is Make a Scene. Now, I'm going to briefly talk about these just by their tropes because that is the easiest and fastest way to do this. So Make a Scene, we are following Retta and Duncan. Retta is a baker. She owns a bakery, and Duncan owns a boxing gym like right across the street, and they meet each other because they're like fighting over a parking space. But the trope in this book is fake dating. Retta's cousin, I believe, is marrying her ex-boyfriend, and Retta, of course, is invited to the wedding. So she gets Duncan to agree to be her fake date so that people will just believe that she's over this guy, she's happy for her cousin, and that she's not bitter. So that's the trope for this book. The banter, the interactions were so cute and adorable. Honestly, in all of Mimi Grace's books, she has just like the perfect date scenes, and I absolutely love them. So What a Match by Mimi Grace. Now we are following Gwen and Anthony. Gwen is the sister of Duncan. So Gwen is the sister of the main character in the first book, and Anthony is the best friend of Duncan in the first book. So I guess this would be like dating my brother's best friend trope. Also really cute. It's set in the fall. This is the perfect fall read, like the perfect fall read. All of the pumpkin patches, the haunted, I think they went to like a haunted mansion or a haunted hotel. It was just the apple cider. It was just perfect for the fall. This is definitely the book that you want to cozy up to in the fall months. Highly recommend. And then the last one in that series is Take a Hike by Mimi Grace. And in this one, we are following Raven and Silas. Raven is the best friend of Gwen in this book. So they're all interconnected. They can be read as standalones, but the characters just kind of interconnect. And in this one, Raven has inherited a, I think it's like a cabin. It's like up in the mountains. It's like a cabin business. And then Silas has been working at this cabin business forever. And he thought that when the owner finally passed that he would be able to buy it so that he can run it, because no one knows this cabin business like he does. However, it loves to Raven, and Raven is the farthest thing from a cabin girl because she knows nothing about cabin life or how to run this business. So it's kind of like an enemies to lovers in this book. And that is the Love Struck series. Now there is another book by Mimi Grace that I have not read yet that I really want to get to, and it's called Along for the Ride. This is a standalone novel. I don't believe it's included in a series. In this book, we are following Jolene and Jason, and I believe this is also a enemies to lovers romance. And I do want to get into this one probably in the summertime. It just gives me summertime vibes because it's like, you know, road trip in the summertime. I think it would be perfect to read. Those are all the books that I've actually read. Now let's get into some of the books that are on my shelf that I really want to get to. We'll start with this one just because it's a little bit different. The Art of Scandal by Regina Black. Now the cover I have is completely different from the actual cover. I saw this on Instagram. I can't even remember the little shop that I got this from, but they do like alternative covers. Steamy Lit, that's what it's called, Steamy Lit. This is the actual cover. I'll show the actual cover on the screen. But the one that I have, I just really loved their cover better. It was just more my style, more my taste. When it comes to romances, I like a very specific type of cover. And this one was adorable, so I had to get it. In this book, I believe the female main character realizes that her husband is cheating on her. It's either his birthday or her birthday. On the night of her husband Matt's, yes, okay, so it's his birthday. He sends a text message to her, and then she quickly realizes the text message was not actually meant for her. And so that causes her to leave her marriage. And I think it says they were married for 13 years. Then Rachel meets Nathan Vasquez, a very handsome, very lost 26-year-old artist. So this is an age gap romance where the female main character is older than the male main character. So yeah, I really want to get into this one. I don't want to read too much of the synopsis because I really like to go into my romances kind of blind-ish. Like I don't mind knowing the tropes, but I kind of just want to like read it and meet these characters and love these characters as I meet them. This is a series. It's not complete. I believe the last book of this series comes out this year in September. But the first book is called Sweet Hand, and this is by N.G. Peltier. I got these books because I believe the author is from Jamaica, and I want to read more books by people from Jamaica about Jamaica. What I noticed is I read a lot of Black American books and then African books, or like books by African authors and books by Black American authors, but I don't read a lot of books by authors from like the islands, and I want to incorporate that more into my 2024 reading goals. So I can't wait to get into this one. This one I probably will read for Valentine's Day. It says, after a public meltdown over her breakup from her cheating musician boyfriend, Cherie swore off guys in the music industry and dating in general, preferring to focus on growing her pastry chef business. So we have another pastry chef. Carrion doesn't know what to make of Charisse now. They've always butted heads. To him, she's always been a stuck-up brat who seeks attention, even while he secretly harbored a crush on her. So this sounds like it's going to be enemies to lovers, and I did skip around because, like I said, I just like to go into my books knowing as little about them as possible. So it sounds like it's going to be a enemies to lovers, and I'm looking forward to this one. This is probably the very next book I'm going to pick up. And then the second book in that series is Don't Go Baking My Heart. So this is book 2, and we are following Devon King. He has a plan, an actual with bullet points and everything planned for his life. When he's called out at work for never participating in any of the office activities, he feels compelled to take part in the upcoming office bake-off competition to prove he's a team player. Reba has been having fun texting the super serious Devon ridiculous cat pictures for an entire month, but she's surprised when he asks for help with a potential baking crisis, since their conversations have been one-sided until now. When her friends make a bet that even she can't get the stoic Devon to fall for her charms, Reba sets out to prove them wrong and get Devon to have some fun. So it sounds like it's opposites attract. I love this cover because Sis has a whole pink wig on her head, and I'm assuming that the male main character is like super serious and she's just gonna like shake some things up for him and introduce some fun in his life. So I'm here for that. The next book I have is also a series. I believe it's just interconnected, so these can be read alone, but they will probably be more enjoyed if you read them together. The first one is The Boyfriend Project. This has been on my TBR for so long. This should probably actually be the book that I read for Valentine's Day because I really want to get into this series. So it says, Tobiah Brooks never thought she would be that girl, but a live tweet of a horrific date just revealed the painful truth. She's been catfished by a three-timing jerk of a boyfriend. Suddenly, Samaya, along with his two other girlfriends, London and Taylor, have gone viral online. Now the three new besties are making a pact to spend the next 6 months investing in themselves, no men, and no dating. For once, Samaya is putting herself first, and that includes finally developing the app that she's always dreamed of creating, which is the exact moment she meets the deliciously sexy Daniel Collins at work. What are the chances? But is Daniel really boyfriend material, or is he maybe just a little too good to be true? And I believe the next two books in the series, which are The Dating Playbook and The Hookup Plan, follow the two girls from the first book. Yep, this one, The Dating Playbook, follows Taylor, and then The Hookup Plan follows London. So I really want to get into this series. I really need to. They have been on my TBR for way, way too long, and I need to get them off of my TBR. The last two books I have are by Jasmine Gilroy. The first one is Drunk in Love, or Drunk on Love. It says, Margaret Noble needs some relief from the stress of running the family winery with her brother. Enter Luke, charming, sexy, and best of all, in the too small world of Napa, a stranger. Luke Williams has it all, but when he quits his high-salary tech job in Silicon Valley in a blaze of burnout and moves back to Napa to help a friend, he realizes he doesn't want to tell the world or his mom why he's now working at a winery. So I believe that this is dating my boyfriend's best friend and also a working romance. So Luke goes to the winery to work and Margaret ends up being his boss. They have a one-night stand and don't realize that they'll be working together until they show up to work the next day. So I don't know why I got this book, because one day I'm going to go to Napa Valley and I'm going to do the whole winery thing, and I'm going to bring this book with me. This is the definition of purchasing a book, not because you need the book, but because you know, like, the scenario will one day arise and you will wish that you had that book. And this is that book for me. The next book we have by Jasmine Gilroy is By the Book. It says, sometimes to truly know a person, you have to read between the lines. I purchased this one because I felt like it was going to be a bookish romance. And because I really loved the fact that The Neighbor Favorite was like a bookish romance, I thought that I would love this one as well. Isabel is completely lost. When she first began her career in publishing after college, she did not expect to be 25, still living at home, and one of the few Black employees at her publishing house. Overworked and underpaid, constantly torn between speaking up or stifling herself, Izzy thinks there must be more to this publishing life. So when she overhears her boss complaining about a beastly, high-profile author who has failed to deliver his long-awaited manuscripts, Isabel sees an opportunity to prove her worth and finally get the recognition that she deserves. All she has to do is go to the author's Santa Barbara mansion and give him a pep talk, or 3. How hard could it be? I believe that that is where our male main character enters in. He is probably the beastly author who can't meet his deadlines, and our female main character Isabel is going to help him do so in more ways than one. Okay, so I can't wait to get into this one because, again, it's a bookish romance, and I think I got really drawn to bookish romances. So we'll see with this one. Okay, those are all the books that I have for you. Hopefully you all saw some books that maybe you haven't heard about and I was able to put them on your radar, or maybe there are some books on this list that you have read and you really enjoyed. Please feel free to leave your thoughts down below. This is not an all-inclusive list. These are just the books that I personally own and that are on my shelves. Some I have read, some I can't wait to read. So leave your recommendations down below if you feel like there was a book that should have been on this list. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of today's video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next one.